Okay, there we go. Yes! It's because I told people I was going to be loud when I got on here. I said I was going to be loud, and then I get on here, and I'm totally not loud. Performance issues. Sorry, guys. Performance issues. Back to what I was saying. We are definitely talking about Epstein. And I was just saying that Benjamin, my good friend Benjamin, is him being a disembodied voice that isn't covering all of today's topics. Me and him are on the same page too often, so we're always covering the same thing. So this is good for me, but I miss seeing his beautiful bald head. All right, I think I'm the only bald person on this space. I can remember the name. God, I am not doing well. This is a bad start. This is not how I usually start. I'm usually so good at this. So good at this. Okay. Where were we? Oh, we've got so much to talk about. Oh, yeah, that's right. Jeff. Me and Jeff could definitely be brothers. I don't know. I haven't Ben's doing his thing, Bo. I trust in the process. I know that Pastor Benjamin is doing whatever he needs to do, and he will continue to speak out and speak up for everybody, and I appreciate him for that. So I trust in the process. But I will continue to hold it down, guys. I will definitely be here holding it down, making sure that when Pastor Benjamin is back on camera again, we'll be having a good time. We'll still be here having a great time, and we'll be ready to receive. Okay, I think that's what they say in religious stuff, right? Like that's what I'm supposed to say. I don't know. Anyways. If I hit my mic cord, it's all bad. Okay. All right. Okay. My mic cord hangs right here. Apparently, if I slap that, that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. I'm going to claim it's the deep state, though. Okay. Okay. New book. New book. All right. So that's my favorite quote of all time. And we're gonna talk about my favorite quote of all time at the end of the show. Okay, if we can get to that part. Slapping the cord. Leftist tech coming out tonight. I know. Well, yeah, new book. I just received it, Looney. Okay. All right. This is going really well. This, Bucket, I hope you're drinking over on my channel. My channel has a joke that every time I have a technical difficulty, you have to drink. So I hope, Bucket, that's what you're doing right now. Because if you're not, you're missing a really, really good chance to do exactly that. So, okay, I got to get all my tabs over here. I am so ready to go. You guys have no idea. I was so set up. I literally started my stream 20 minutes before I was supposed to, just to get on here and slap my damn mic cord like 7 times. I'm doing great. How are you guys doing? All right, I am so ready. I've gotten so much better at this too. All right. So I hope you guys are ready for this. Let's talk about some things before we get to the Epstein stuff. Because like I said, we're flipping the script. Usually we're talking about the Epstein stuff because other people aren't talking about the Epstein stuff, right? So we're always trying to keep the Epstein stuff in the news. So while everybody is talking about how much Hasanabi hates Ethan Klein or Destiny hates Vosh, I stay talking about the Epstein list, right? Now that everybody's talking about the Epstein list, we're going to talk about how much Ethan Klein hates Hasanabi. Just kidding. We talk about real shit. We're adults, okay? So let's talk about Donald Trump's failings. That's much more fun to me. I want you guys to know that we now have gone full idiocracy. We have now gone full idiocracy. And I told people this probably 6 months ago when CPI stopped being reported in 3 major cities, when parts of the PPI index, something like 250 parts of it, were no longer being reported, when inflation continued to go up, with CPI, core CPI continued to go up, when jobs continue to get lost, and Trump fired the lady in charge of the jobs and replaced him with the guy he liked, and then the guy he liked still said he was losing jobs. I said this. I said, at one point or another, you're all going to stop seeing numbers. You're going to stop seeing any numbers coming out of this government. You're not going to hear about CPI. You're not going to hear about inflation. You're not going to hear about job numbers. You're not going to hear about PPI. None of these things. The PCE, nothing, right? And it's happened. And I knew they would use the government shutdown as a reason to do that as well. I was like, this is the perfect chance for them to stop talking about numbers. So, White House says October's jobs and inflation data may never be released because of the shutdown. Not delayed. Not delayed. Okay? All right? Not delayed. They will never be released at all. Okay, Shade, you definitely get shared. And Groove, you too. Good job, guys. Good job. Staying on it. All right. Not delayed, just completely gone. Key economic reports for October may not be released at all because of the government shutdown, a senior White House official said Wednesday. With the spending impasse appearing to be near an end, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt told reporters that part of the fallout could be lasting damage to the government's data collection ability. You don't say. I wonder if the Epstein files will get lost too. I'm going to guess they do. The Democrats may have permanently damaged the federal statistical system with October CPI and jobs reports likely never being released, Leavitt said. All of that economic data released will be permanently impaired, leaving our policymakers at the Fed flying blind at a critical period. Mind you, Donald Trump had already said that we needed to stop reporting most of these numbers. This definitely wasn't his plan. Release of important economic data has been at the forefront of Wall Street concerns as the shutdown dragged on for more than 6 weeks, the longest in history. Among the most important releases are the monthly non-farm payrolls count and the consumer price index, both of which come from the Labor Department's Bureau of Labor Statistics, which, by the way, was absolutely gutted by Doge. That's why there was 3 large cities that weren't reporting CPI. In fact, usually when we get CPI numbers, they guesstimate things on about something like 7 to 10% of the numbers. Last I heard, I think in September, they were guessing on over 30% of the numbers. This is well before the government shutdown. And yet Wall Street really does care about this because this is how Wall Street figures out whether or not the country's going to do good or not. And considering that we're in a gigantic AI-inflated bubble that's going to pop, and when it does, we're all going full Enron. I'm sure they're actually fucking super duper concerned right now because your 401k might look amazing right now, but give it a year or two and we'll see what happens. Okay, among the most important releases are the monthly non-farm payrolls count and the consumer price index. Most Wall Street economists have been expecting all of the data to be released, albeit delayed. However, Leavitt's comments cast doubt on whether that will happen. Yeah, most Wall Street people are like, I don't see why you wouldn't at one point give us the data. The Democrat shutdown made it extraordinarily difficult for economists, investors, and policymakers of the Federal Reserve to receive critical government data, Leavitt said. Leavitt added that the shutdown could lower fourth quarter economic growth by up to 2 percentage points earlier in the afternoon. Kevin Hassett, director of the National Economy Council, said the impasse might shave up to 1.5 percentage points from current quarter GDP, which we are already at, I think, projected 1.8, which is already 1% lower than normally projected for an entire year. So, yeah, the economy's bad. I don't know if you guys know that. It's really bad. But don't worry, guys. We're gonna get $2,000. Are you guys excited for the $2,000 to shut you up so you'll stop talking about the Epstein files? Because I'm pretty sure at this point we're actually getting that $2,000. You know, I think Donald Trump at this point is gonna he's gonna shove that $2,000 into your pockets and probably give you a handy while whispering in your ear, the Epstein file is a hoax. He's just going to be giving you a little reach around there and a little, it's all a hoax. Just stop talking about it. That's what's going to happen. Let's see. For sure, it's going to have an impact on this quarter, Hassett said during an appearance at the Economic Club of Washington. However, most economists expect the impact to be minimal. Goldman Sachs, in fact, raises estimates for GDP heading into the end of the year. The firm boosted its quarter three outlook slightly to 3.7% and raised its full year forecast to 1.3. 1.3. Our GDP is going to be 1.3 this year. That's hopeful, guys. That's the positive side of GDP right now. We are cooked. As for timing, Citigroup economists on Wednesday speculated that the September non-farm payrolls report could be released as early as Friday, but more likely in the early part of next week. They said it could take until early December to put together the October count. Jobs report data should be easy to collect, belatedly because it involves asking businesses for hard numbers, according to Jeffrey Roach, the chief economist at LPL Financial, who would like you to give him the goddamn numbers. In fact, he said the BLS could likely get multiple months' worth of data during one collection period if needed. So in other words, once again, they're just lying to you because that's what this administration does. They just lie a lot. There's a lot of lying. But wait, just wait until we get to the good part of this story. We're just going over the hard information right now. Wait until we get to the good part of this story. You guys are really going to enjoy this. It is idiocracy at its finest. But he said it's hard to get information from everyday people because it requires asking them about their willingness to work during a period that has already passed. It's just the more nuanced, qualitative surveys that cannot be replicated, Roach said. The water has gone under the bridge already. Roach said previous shutdowns have mostly only resulted in delays in the release of the data that the government had already collected, but he said this closure lasted long enough to also keep agencies closed during what would have been their collection periods for these reports. All right, you guys ready for this? Who do you think they got their information from, guys? Who do you think Donald Trump, Carolyn Levitt, and the White House is now taking economic data from? Who do you guys think? I'm going to give you guys a second. Let's, yeah, ADT does. I believe that they do also publish data. Thank you, Coffee House. Okay, you guys ready to find out? You guys ready to go full idiocracy? Here we go, guys. The White House, which, of course, the Democrat shutdown is officially over after 42 days. I just want to point out that this fucking regime is a 12-year-old. They're a 12-year-old, and they also like 12-year-olds, just so you guys know. Allegedly. Okay, this information, guys, come from DoorDash's State of Local Commerce Report. I can't say that. It's hard to say that because it feels bad. We're getting our economic data from DoorDash, guys. DoorDash. We are now taking the economic numbers this year, guys, sponsored by DoorDash. We're so fucking cooked, dude. We're so cooked. Thanks for being here, 5 Eggs. 21st century suffragettes. Shout out to the 21st century suffragettes. That's my people. I'm on vacation this week, so I actually got to stop in and say hi to them. This is all information, guys, from DoorDash. So you can definitely take this information. This is not financial advice. This is sarcasm. This is the Onion. You can definitely take this financial advice from DoorDash and go buy stocks off of this, guys. 100%. This is not financial advice. From breakfast tables to store shelves, President Trump's agenda is lowering costs when families need it the most, fueling an economic comeback that is only just beginning as President Trump works to make America affordable again. Grocery prices on breakfast items have dropped 14% in the last 6 months. No, they fucking haven't. I work in a grocery store. I've been in the grocery industry for 20 years. You know what they're doing? They're taking the drop on egg prices. That's what they're using while everything else is inflating. And by the way, egg prices still higher year over year. Just a heads up. Egg prices still higher year over year. Oh yeah, and also we went from almost no cases of the avian flu in September to 4 million cases in October and 4 million cases in 4 million cases in September, 4 million cases in October, and we are already at almost 500,000 cases in the first week of November. So avian flu coming back. And those breakfast prices going to be going up, brother. Going to be going up. President Trump has tamed inflation. Don't look at the numbers that say no, he hasn't. You know, the one that keeps going up. The Breakfast Basics Index, which measures the price of 3 eggs, a glass of milk, a bagel, and an avocado, decreased 14%. Okay, like I said, they're literally using the price drop from eggs from 6 months ago, which once again is still higher year over year. It is still elevated. This is like when they try to get you to be happy that gas is only $3.50. They're like, it's only $3.50, man. It was like $5. Like at the beginning of the year, and you're like, yeah, like 2 years ago, it was like fucking $1.75. Fuck you. I hate these people. Yeah, DoorDash, guys. Anyways, we don't need to do more to do with that. That's that. That's the end of that. I wanted you guys to know that we've officially entered the early stages of idiocracy. We're in pre-idiocracy, guys. I was going to say, how did we get here? But I know how we got here. I'm literally the guy that talks about how we got here. I was just watching Kyle Kalinski's video on asthma mold, and I dropped a comment. If you want to go see my comment, you can go over and see Kyle Kalinski's video on asthma mold. It's amazing because Kyle Kalinski absolutely loses his shit, and he should. I said asthma mold makes content for people that live in a house with black mold. The algorithm has pushed all these content creators into the political lane, and we are all the dumber for it. This ain't going to get better, guys. I was just talking to people the other day, and I was like, so if Nick Fuentes can run, and thank God he can't run until 2036 unless we go ahead and amend that amendment, which would be terrible. But he can't run until 2036. But can you imagine when he can run? And somebody pointed out that Tucker Carlson can run now. So just imagine this slate of primary candidates in the Republican Party. Just imagine Tucker Carlson versus MTG versus Nick Fuentes versus JD Couch. The future is not bright, guys. And unfortunately, what we're going to have to do to fight back against this is we're also going to have to participate in idiocracy, just like Pastor Benjamin said. Like Pastor Benjamin said, you don't get a choice. You don't get to be like, I'm not going to go low. They're going low. No, you got to go low too. You got to burrow under that bitch. Okay. Like, we're going to have to literally be running our most popular podcasters. It's going to be like Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, MTG, and JD Couch versus like Mike from the Humanist Report, Kyle Kalinski, Luke Beasley. Luke might be old enough by then. He might be old enough by then. All right. And then like AOC. We are in fucking trouble. Oh my God. We are in so much trouble. All right. Anyways, speaking of us being in trouble, the economy is in trouble, and it did not get better, guys, because you know that clean CR, the one that had the ability for 8 different Republicans to sue the Department of Justice for $500,000 per incident. Where their phone records were subpoenaed. Yeah, you guys, that clean CR that is going to make like a couple $1 million for Josh Hawley and Lindsey Graham and Tommy Tuberville. It also is going to destroy a $28 billion industry across the United States called hemp. It's called hemp. And Rand Paul, we're finding strange bedfellows. Okay, guys? We found ourselves hanging out with MTG. We found ourselves with Thomas Massey. Okay? And just yesterday, I was actually applauding Lauren Boebert. Okay? I was like, they took her in a room and she came out and she was like, nope, I'm still signing. I was like, no. What? Why am I clapping for Lauren Boebert? Did she really stay strong? I bet you Trump just called her into that room to get a handy. I bet that's all. See, we all think we're like, oh shit, Trump's trying to get her to not sign. And really he was just like, need a quick hand job. You're the woman for the job. Come into my room. It's just pictures of Trump all around and shit. He doesn't even look at her. He just looks at his picture on the wall while she jerks. Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry. All right. So I wanted to play this for you guys. Coffee House is saying she already covered this, but we're going to cover it again. Just in case, so you guys can hear my terrible commentary on it. I'm sure Coffee House had better commentary. Visora, afterwards, when she gets on here and she's like, I want to show you guys what's going on with the hemp industry. She's going to also be better than me at this. But let's watch Rand Paul talk about this, because it does give me hope to see some smart people talking about this.
Instead of a clean CR, this bill contains language that has been airdropped in that will destroy hemp farming in Kentucky and across the United States. Tucked away on page 163, Title 7, Division B of this spending package is a provision that will shut down the hemp industry across the United States. My amendment would strip the provision designed to regulate the hemp industry to death. The bill, as it now stands, overrides the regulatory frameworks of several states, cancels the collective decisions of hemp consumers, and destroys the livelihoods of hemp farmers. And it couldn't come at a...
By the way, in Kentucky, they're already closing bourbon distillation facilities at an ungodly rate. Dairies across the country are dying. Donald Trump literally pushed Venezuela into China's arms, and now Venezuela is making deals with China, who he claimed just recently he got to buy a bunch of soybeans, which turned out to be about $13 billion less soybeans than we normally sell them. And then the following years, they're going to buy, $13 million, not billion, $13 million less than they normally buy. And then the next couple of years, they're going to buy the same amount or less that they've always bought. So really, we didn't get anything from any of those deals except for that now Venezuela and their oil, all the oil is going to go to China, who also has magnets, which apparently Trump doesn't know how magnets work, but he also knows that magnets are in everything and that we're fucked. So Donald Trump is actually smart enough to know how screwed we are right now, and that's why he's stealing all of our fucking Medicare and Social Security money and is about to move to Argentina. That's why they gave oh my God, I just figured it out.
Worst time for America's farmers. Times are tough for our farmers. Farmers' costs have increased as the price of fertilizer and machinery have jumped, while prices for their crops like soybean, corn, and wheat have declined. For many farmers, hemp has proved to be a lifeline, a new cash crop. Farmers turn to growing hemp to mitigate the losses they've endured during this season of hardship. But that lifeline may soon be extinguished by this very legislation. The effective hemp ban included in this spending package is a result, we are told, of bad actors skirting the legal limits.
I bet it was the Mexicans, of course, right? It had to, of course, be bad hombres. It's all the grapists and the traffickers coming across the border. That's got to be it, right?
By overly enhancing the concentration of THC in their products. The hemp industry, myself and others, have come together and we have been willing to negotiate to get rid of the bad actors. And yet, instead, we are met with legislation that would be prohibition. Members of the industry, myself and others who are advocates of this, have been willing to...
I like the people behind him that are looking at each other going, wait a minute, what is he talking about? Is that in this bill? Did you know that was in this bill? Did you sign that too? Yeah, I signed that. I didn't read it. They told me it was clean.
Get rid of synthetic cannabinoids.
Oh, my God.
We've been willing to compromise at every turn, but we're met with the numbers in this bill which will eradicate the hemp industry. For the last several weeks, we've offered proposals with the goal of creating an environment in which the hemp industry could thrive and sell products. And we've been met with those who want to prohibit the industry from continuing. This bill's per-serving THC content limit would make illegal any hemp product that contains more than 0.4 milligrams. That would be nearly 100% of the existing market.
Yep.
The numbers put forward in this bill will eliminate 100% of the hemp products in our country.
That means CBD, by the way. So when we first started selling CBD products in the store, there was federal, it was still federally illegal, but it was on the state level legal, which means that we won't be busted by anybody in the state, but federal law overtops state. So therefore, if they wanted to, they could make it really hard on us. This is what's happening here. And if you've seen James Tellerico in Texas talking about the ban on THC products in Texas, he makes the same argument that every person is going to make when it comes to healthcare access for women when it comes to abortion too, right? Is that when you make something illegal, whether it's alcohol or it's access to abortion or it's marijuana, all you're really doing effectively is making people go to sources that they shouldn't be going to. That you can't have old people driving down to the street corner trying to get a dime sack. That's not good. I grew up in the places where they will sell you that stuff, and that's not a good place for an old person. And when it comes to CBD products, these are literally products that are salves. They're sleeping pills. They're not, people aren't getting high off of these products. Like the amount, I'm about to say the amount that you would have to take to get high off of them, but I don't even know that you could. Like, you would probably overdose. It's insanity. And once again, this is what happens when you have a bunch of people that have no idea what the fuck they're doing, meddling in things that potentially could be very beneficial to not just people. It turns out it could also be really beneficial to fucking billionaires. They could make a bunch of money off us again. But they're not, currently they don't have the framework set up for them to make money off of us. So they don't like that. Their prior framework, it was how they were making money off of us and, squeezing us until there's no blood left in our bodies and then, tossing us on the side of the road to be left and die. So they don't want that. They want to get rid of this because people are getting high on it. It's fucking insane. What's happening, Diane? Good to see you, Diane. Ooh, pizza.
That amounts to an effective ban because the limit is so low that the products intended to manage pain or anxiety will lose their effect. The states have done what they're supposed to. The states have instituted laws. 23 states have instituted laws on hemp. None of them have limits anywhere close to what is being proposed in this bill. So what will happen is most of the things that your states have regulated, are regulating, and have made legal will be made illegal by this bill. This bill will effectively preempt and nullify all state laws concerning hemp. Currently, Maine limits THC to 3 milligrams per serving. That will be overruled. My home state limits THC to 5 milligrams in beverages. That will be overruled. Minnesota, Utah, Louisiana also have 5 milligrams per serving. Alabama and Georgia have 10 milligrams. Tennessee has 15 milligrams. The bill before us nullifies all these state laws and makes the hemp industry kaput. The language in this bill will outlaw all current hemp plants and seeds. It changes the definition of what a hemp plant is. It makes it so low that there may not even be an existing plant that can meet the parameters. But every plant in the country will have to be destroyed. Every hemp seed in the country will have to be destroyed. This is the most thoughtless, ignorant proposal.
Man, he stumbled on saying ignorant. I just go right into it. I'm like, these people are morons.
To an industry that I've seen in a long, long time.
Yes, they did. They already
The
passed
states
it.
have made progress, and more progress was coming. Most states have age limits. To add insult to injury, we are given this legislation in an appropriation bills. We have Senate rules against this. So I would recommend that we vote for this amendment, and my amendment would strip out the language, and I would like to transfer the remainder of my time to Senator Merkley.
And I would like to also ask that Senator Rand Paul go ahead and remove that $500,000 stipulation for lawsuits against the DOJ that's going to make Lindsey Graham and his buddies millions of dollars. Also, go ahead and remove that. One final point I want to make on what he's saying here, because this is really important, and this is something that people don't always understand, and Donald Trump 100% does not understand, is that when you do not have the framework for removal of things like this already in place, it is a absolute shit show. So the last penny was produced in Philadelphia, I think last week or the end of beginning of this week, and you're already seeing places like Kroger's, places like Walmart, places like Home Depot, and places like McDonald's struggling to be able to do something about the fact that they don't have any pennies, because these big corporations go through tons of pennies per day. So like for a mid-sized store like what I run, we can get pennies still. We're still okay. We're going to be, working our way towards that, and we probably will be ahead enough of the game that when it comes time, we'll have infrastructure in place to be able to deal with it. But for the time being, what is happening to people is if they don't bring exact change, places like McDonald's are rounding up to the nearest nickel. Now, I mean, we could get into the whole point of the fact that Donald Trump's an idiot in the first place, getting rid of the penny. So each penny costs 4 cents to produce a penny. To produce a nickel, it costs like 13 cents. So you're literally going to have to produce more fucking nickels now, which are going to cost more money, which then is going to just result in you having to get rid of nickels next. And guess what? The price just goes up as you go up. So, fucking... The thing about getting rid of anything, not even that I'm okay with this, I'm just saying on the most basic level, there is no framework for what they're attempting to do, because this government doesn't know what the word framework means. Donald Trump wakes up every single morning and he goes, who am I mad at? What did Fox News say? What do you mean they released more Epstein files? Fuck. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, even if you wanted to do this, and even if it was a good idea, which it's not, we're bankrupting people across the country. This is all bad, folks. SNAP is stressed. Immigrants have been deported. Farmers are going broke. The tariffs are not making trillions of dollars. And the tariffs may get actually revoked soon. This is all bad. AI is taking people's jobs. And then they're like, you know what we should do? Let's get rid of hemp. It's almost like they're trying to burn down the country, which is legit. But if you want to know why people like this do this kind of stuff, and why people support this kind of stuff, well, it's because they're batshit crazy. Okay, the people that support this type of authoritarian dictatorship, this type of idiocracy politics, they're crazy. They're crazy people. And I want to share this because this is actually a story that actually is a little bit, the story itself was from an older time, the before time, okay? Before we started entering idiocracy. And just recently, it was the This person was found guilty. So, Texas woman who threatened judge in Trump criminal case is sentenced. Despite President Trump's wave of pardons for allies and supporters who sought to overturn his 2020 election loss and his clemency for all Capitol right defendants, at least one federal case with tethers to the 2020 election still lingered. Now, a federal judge in Houston has sentenced Abigail Schrei to 27 months in federal prison, followed by 2 years of supervised release after she pleaded guilty to phoning a vulgar, violent, and racist threat to U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkin in August of 2023. And this is just a lesson for Trump supporters. He doesn't know who you are. He doesn't care. For all those J6ers out there, he doesn't care. He doesn't know. He didn't even look at the pardons. He was just like, yeah, whatever. I don't have time. Just pardon them all. Yeah, the one with child prawn. Yeah, that one gets to go too. The one who beats his wife. Yeah, that one can go too. He doesn't care. He doesn't know who you are. I've said this before. If you were a turd on his golf course and he stepped in you, he would not stop to wipe you off. He would walk until you fell off his shoe. He would scrape you along on the grass. He would never deign to bend over and have to come in contact with you. He doesn't like the way you smell. He hates shaking your hands. He hates having to smile at you and hug you. He doesn't care about you. He only cares about himself because he's a sociopath. That's why this lady, well, I don't know. I shouldn't say that. Somebody's probably going to give this chick probably has like a uncle that has millions of dollars. If she's related to somebody that has millions of dollars, she will get a pardon. The threat was made hours after Chutkin was assigned to oversee Mr. Trump's criminal case for allegedly conspiring to overturn his 2020 loss, on which January 6th was a component, which he would have been found guilty of. I have 12 pages of notes on the fake elector scheme. You guys ever want to talk about fake elector scheme? We can talk about fake elector scheme. In court Wednesday before Judge Keith Ellison, Schrei apologized to anyone who was subjected to hearing her abhorrent voicemail, saying that it was not and is not reflective of my character or beliefs. The voicemail proves that that's actually not true. Those are, in fact, your beliefs, lady. In charging documents, the Justice Department said Schrei, 45, left a voicemail to Chutkin in which she threatened to kill anyone who went after President Trump. The document alleged Schrei referred to Chutkin as a slave, used a racial epithet, and made threats against a Texas Democratic congresswoman, all Democrats, and the LGBT community. I guarantee it was Jasmine Crockett. Bet you money it was Jasmine Crockett that she made the threat against. Schrei's voice message also said, if Trump doesn't get elected in 2024, we are coming to off you, so tread lightly. And that was according to the Department of Justice court filings. Investigators say they linked the message to Schrei after determining her cell phone number was used to make the threatening call. They're not the sharpest tools. Schrei pleaded guilty in November 2024 to a federal charge of transmitting an interstate threat. Her sentencing hearing has been postponed multiple times before Wednesday's court date. Prosecutors requested a sentence of 33 months. This is her. That's a winner. That's a real winner. I think I've seen her at Walmart. On the day of Schrei's guilty plea, the Justice Department offered further details on its investigating, saying Schrei admitted that she made the call and noted that she had no plans to travel anywhere to carry out anything she stated. This is fucking locker room talk, guys. Just locker room talk. But she also allegedly told investigators that if the congresswoman ever traveled to her city, then we need to worry. Okay, let me give you guys some advice. This is not this is not officially advice. Once again, sarcasm, guys. If ever talking to the police, they're like, were you going to follow through on those threats? You're like, nah, man, I'm not going to drive that far. Like, I'm not that invested in doing something about it. And they're like, well, what if she like drove here? And you're like, don't say, well, yeah, probably then. I mean, if she's going to like, what are you like down at the corner store? Yeah, if I saw her there, for sure. That's 100% don't do that. Okay, that's legal advice, actually. That is legal advice. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. Schrei's case was one of a fast-rising number of threats made against federal judges on the past few years. But remember, guys, only the left. Remember, the left is the party of political violence. That's it, guys. Remember that, okay? Left is the party of political violence. Reports from the U.S. Marshal Service, which protects the federal judges, said more than 560 threats have been investigated so far this year. That's been more than all of 2024 and on pace to match or surpass 2023 levels. A federal judge had briefly ordered Schrei to remain in pretrial detention in the case. In a May 2024 hearing, a Justice Department prosecutor argued, "My greatest concern in this case is that she starts watching Fox News again, gets herself spun up, she goes out, she gets a case of beer, continues to get herself spun up. There's no way to gauge what's going to happen here except to look at what she's done in the past 6 months." I need to know who this prosecutor is. That is amazing. That is amazing. And by the way, when they say 560 threats that have been investigated this year, who do you think the judges are that are being threatened? Do you think those are liberal judges? In fact, actually, you know what? I'm wrong about that. Some of these judges were Trump-appointed judges, and they're being threatened by right-wing people. Donald Trump is the only person right now in court. Like, he has dominated the court scene. He's trying to make immigrants go back. He's got a million cases with tariffs and LGBT rights and voter rights. When they say 560 threats this year so far, don't get that twisted. They're not talking about Democrats making threats against right-wing, Trump-supporting judges that are on his side. Those threats are all against people that are trying to stop Donald Trump from being, an authoritarian dictator that wants unilateral executive power. Yeah, that's what they mean by when they say that. Don't let this woman get a case of beer. Federal judge later released Schrei under the condition that Schrei not possess firearms or consume alcohol. 2.5 years from now, guys, we're in trouble. Okay, here's the bet, though. Who gets out first, guys? Who gets out first? Ghislaine Maxwell or this lady? Ghislaine still got 12 years on her sentence. This lady's only got 27 months. Who gets out first? Because I'm betting Maxwell gets out first. If you guys haven't seen my video on that, I just clipped that up. We did a story on Ghislaine's commutation case last night. So if you're asking yourself why do these people get so fearful? Why do these people get so hateful? Why do they get so angry? Like, what has broke these people, right? Like, what has driven them to this place? Well, I want to show you guys a video. And this is a guy, he's a country music singer, and he's just recently kind of gotten a bit of popularity on social media and other platforms because he kind of came out and he said, like, don't be a douchebag, right? He said, if you're a Christian, be a Christian. Like, feed the homeless. Welcome people of all genders and sexualities into your church and treat them like human beings. Really, really extreme stuff. He said, take care of the poor and that billionaires, shouldn't exist. Really extreme stuff. Really, really out of the ordinary for a Christian person to say, right? And he lives in a small town, and he says all the time now he gets these people that come up to him and they say, how did you get radicalized? What have you been watching the CNN? Like, you think women should be able to vote? Like, so he's been making the rounds, and he's been a really good voice because I've told you guys before, I grew up in one of the most country places in the state of California, and that is Bakersfield, California. All right. I grew up in the home of Dwight Yoakam and Buck Owens' Crystal Palace. And one of the things that I've always thought is that, like, just like knights, the knights of old always had this, like, this code of chivalry, but the reality of what knights were back in the medieval times where they're actually a bunch of assholes and they're misogynist and terrible people. Also, the same thing went for cowboys and country folk. When I was younger, you had this idea that the country man was supposed to be this protector, this leader of his family, this good person, this guy of his community, the guy who'll build a fence with you, the guy when your cattle escape, like he's out there, he's helping you rustle them, he's helping to bring them back. He's the one who defends the women's rights. And you know what the country folk did that I grew up with? they mostly beat their wives. Yeah, they beat their wives, they beat their children, they're severe alcoholics, they're racist. And so I've said a lot that seeing people like Tennessee Brando and Texas Paul and Trey Crowder and now this gentleman, it's really like improved something about me and how I feel about like the people that I grew up with and stuff. And I really enjoy seeing this man's videos, and so I want to share this with you because he's on this podcast. I believe it's called Beer Buds in the Big Sky, and he's talking about how these people became these people.
The far right has made these people in small towns so afraid of gay people and trans people that they are willing to vote for their own demise. And I'm sorry, but that's it. I mean, like some of these people, I had a conversation with someone the other day, and this is how I know they're all full of shit. You know what trans people, right? You know what trans people do and what gay people do? They try to pay their bills and try to fucking get a good job, just like anybody else.
Right.
They try to live a life
a little less alone, like everyone else does, and have friends and a social circle, just like everyone else should want to do.
You know, maybe
they don't want to get fucking beat up because they're walking down the street in a fucking red state and somebody, you know, calls them the F word or calls them some slur and shit. And it's like, yeah, I think I would fucking feel that way too if I was a person that was like, just trying to live my life. You know, fucking trans people and gay people, though, they got to go through that shit all the fucking time, and that's what sucks.
You know, and these people have a high suicide rate, a high depression rate because of how society treats them. What the fuck are we doing when we're allowing our friends, our family, our neighbors to live in such depression because of how they're being treated? It's like, you're right. That's all they want to do. Just live.
They're
a
human
life.
fucking being and just existing, and they fucking need help sometimes too. And it's not that big a fucking deal if you gotta like say, "Hey, man, like you do you." That's all you gotta do. And the far right has made.
And you know what he's saying there is he's saying they've, and you know this, you already know this. When I'm showing this video, I know that you guys know, right? I'm just showing you that luckily there's other people out there that you might not think. Like I said, a lot of people see me and they think I'm MAGA, right? I always got to explain to people I'm not MAGA. I always send them my channel. I'm like, go check out my channel. Like, no, like you'll see. But it's fear. It's LGBT people. I was just saying this either last night or it was Saturday. I can't remember. But I said like people, oh, do you like furries, bro? And I'm like, what do you mean? Do I want to like have sex with a furry? I'm like, nah, I'm not into that. Like, I'm not into costumes, not really into, you know, animal costume sexuality or whatever it is. But it's okay. That's not what I'm into. I'm like, I'm also not into sucking toes, bro. I don't find women's ankles sexy. Like, everybody's got their thing, man. I'm like that. I don't need to like what they like. That's not necessary for me. I don't need to be into what you're into. You know, my wife likes K-drama. I watched a little bit of the other day. We don't all have to like the same shit, man. Some people like Insane Clown Posse. I don't think that's hip hop. You know, when I was in my 20s, I would literally like argue with my buddies and be like, that's not rap. I grew up with West Coast gangster rap. You know, I'm like, we talking about Tupac, Dre, Sebo, Celly Cell, Rapper Forte, Spice One, X-Rated. Like, they're like, woo, woo. And I'm like, no. I don't have to be into the same things as you. But that's what they do. They scare them. They make them feel like you have to be scared. Like these people, if you're around a gay person, they might violate you. Like, no, it's more likely that a heterosexual male is going to violate you. That's that. The statistics actually show that. Or a priest, actually. I believe the numbers are something like you're 10 times more likely to be fondled by a priest than you are by a transgender person. It might actually be higher than that. It might have been 100 times. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've needed to look up that statistic to prove somebody wrong. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't, like, it's fear. And I like these guys talking about this because it really does something very important. Because these guys right here probably reach a crowd of people that a lot of people on the left don't. And that's why I wanted to be here, right? Is because I feel like I reach people that a lot of people on the left don't, because I'm different, because I didn't have the same life experiences. I didn't grow up the same way, you know, like, you know, I am a straight, bald, white man, you know, like I'm probably more of a minority on the left than it used to be, right? And that's good, because that means that I get to fill my lane and I get to do my thing. And like I said, in about 3.5 years, you guys are going to be like, anyways, we don't want the angry ginger anymore. He's too mean. But I want to show you that video because I really like seeing that. But also, just so you guys know, the reason that we looked at the Texas lady before that was because, yeah, that's why these people call judges and use racist slurs and threaten the LGBT community, is because of what that prosecutor said. We literally just can't let her go get drunk and watch Fox News, because if they get drunk and watch Fox News, then they're liable to call a federal judge and say that they're going to perhaps murder them. Yep, that's where these people are. Anyways, some other good stuff to get to, because we got to get towards we got to get to the Epstein files, and we're working our way through there. I have a lot of tabs open right now. Got so much stuff to see. Okay. Okay, I like that one. Emily, I like that one. That one's a good one. Shade as well. Big L. All right. So I don't know if you guys saw this story, but I want to share it because I thought it was funny. Okay. Yeah, I like what Cheyenne just said. Don't yuck somebody else's yum. It's simple. They like something, good on them. Like, I don't want people coming in while I'm watching football and be like, football is stupid. Or like, more importantly, like, what if I walk down the street and football was such a polarizing subject that somebody just started yelling slurs at me, and then a bunch of people jump me because I like football? I would be like, why? And that's exactly how LGBT people are. Why? All right. So this is a video, because we're getting towards the Epstein stuff. This is adjacent to the Epstein stuff. This is Stephanie Miller, who's a progressive radio DJ, and she went on Sean Hannity's show the other day, and it was absolutely awesome, and I want to share that with you guys. So first we'll play this clip here. This is Stephanie Miller on Sean Hannity's show, and this is before the government shutdown. So this is Sean Hannity asking her a question, and we'll let him go ahead and go through this, and we're going to read a bit, and then we got another clip after this.
You notice Joe Biden's cognitive decline, and don't change the subject and deflect. When did you really notice it?
Well, I think it was through all of the times that Donald Trump has fallen asleep in public and talked about, magnets getting wet in the last few,
Oh my gosh.
My mom had dementia, so I recognize it.
Stephanie, this is not, it's a very good deflection. You're a professional.
You know what else is great about Biden's decline is that Trump is all over the Epstein files, and I'm wondering if they're going to release those. Are you covering that tonight? Yeah.
2028. Who is your progressive liberal?
Yeah, we have a really deep bench. I love Governor Newsom. I love Governor Pritzker. I love Governor Beshear. We have a very deep bench. You have J.D. Vance, who just, I believe, endorsed his brother who lost by 60 points. So, and I think Jasmine Crockett, if she runs, will beat Ted Cruz, and I will miss him because he's so likable, Sean, don't you think?
Okay, so...
I just love the smile at the end. That's such an amazing smile at the end. This is the first time I've ever seen Stephanie Miller, and I think I'm in love. So progressive radio host Stephanie Miller on Wednesday mocked Fox News host Sean Hannity and called out his network over its dismal coverage of President Donald Trump's ties to late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. So Miller on the day House Democrats released bombshell new Epstein emails mentioning Trump appeared on Hannity's show where she was asked about a recent photo of her kissing Rep. Jasmine Crockett's Texas sneakers. Her sneakers. Jasmine Crockett's sneakers. Apparently, I can't talk all of a sudden. So this is a clip of that.
I thought it was funny, but if it was anybody else, I probably wouldn't think it was as funny. So, well done.
Thank you for being the only one on the right that gets the joke. Sean, it was a joke. And then, you know, the funniest thing about this story is Trump's all over the Epstein files. And I wonder.
When I first watched this, I was like, what did she say here? I mean, look, would I kiss Jasmine Crockett's sneakers? Probably. They probably smell like success. Okay. All right. But I was like, what do you, this is such a weird topic to have on a news show. How do you respond to that? And I think that's the only way that you can respond to it.
On it was a joke. And then, you know, the funniest thing about this story is Trump's all over the Epstein files. And I wonder if they're going to release that after the big bombshell. I didn't see anything about that on Fox News today. Yeah.
I heard
okay,
Bill
so
Clinton's
let's release them.
Let's release them. And that is the literal fucking response from every single Democrat I've ever talked to. When people are like, well, I heard Bill Clinton's in those. Release the files. I've heard there's a lot of people that potentially I know of, people that potentially I've read their books. Release the files. That's the way it is. Like, nobody cares, man. The only people here defending somebody are Republicans. They are defending Donald Trump because they defend pedophiles. That's why.
Release those files. Is this what passes for news? Is this what passes for news on Fox News?
Why did you kiss her feet?
And that is literally what passes for news on Fox News, though. So, yes, actually, that's exactly what it was. And then there's one more here where this is the full answer. This is her full answer with Hannity responding.
But, all right, so I do have a question. I tried to get an answer out of you on radio. Okay. The question is, when did you notice Joe Biden's cognitive decline? And don't change the subject and deflect. When did you really notice it?
Well, I think it was through all of the times that Donald Trump has fallen asleep in public and talked about, you know, magnets getting wet in the last few, you know,
gosh.
My mom had dementia, so I recognize it. And
this is not, it's a very good deflection. You're a professional.
You know what else is great about
Biden's
decline is that Trump is all over the Epstein files, and I'm wondering if they're going to release those. Are you covering that tonight?
Not really, because the woman that apparently they're talking about is the one that said he was a gentleman. And
not really. That's why I wanted to play this a second time. He says, not really. Now, you don't want to cover the fact that it says, I have pictures of Donald Trump in the kitchen with underage girls in bikinis? You don't want to cover the one where he says, ask my house man about how Donald Trump walked into a sliding glass door and left a nose imprint on it because he was so intent on the young ladies in the pool? You don't want to ask him about the fact that Michael Wolff was having a conversation with Jeffrey Epstein about information that could possibly have changed the election? You don't want to ask, you don't want to cover any of that? No, the only thing that you want to talk about, is the fact that one of those emails, and we don't even know if it does or not, they're just saying that it does, contained information including perhaps Virginia Giuffre, who did say that at no time did she ever experience anything negative with Donald Trump. And the thing about that is I believe that. I believe that Virginia Giuffre she was never assaulted by Trump. I believe that there's a lot of other people out there, though, that were trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein that we need to hear from them, though. That's what I believe. You see, even if Donald Trump, even if every one of those women came out and said, no, Donald Trump didn't do anything, you would still need to explain why Donald Trump has spent the last year, 2 years, because he wasn't defending it 2 years ago. He was running on it. My bad. Why for the last year, Donald Trump has been saying it's a hoax. Why Donald Trump has changed his story multiple times as to how he got rid of that creep, Jeffrey Epstein. You'd have to explain why Pam Bondi said there was a clients list and then there wasn't. Why Kash Patel said that there was going to be an intense investigation and that there's thousands of hours of footage on Joe Rogan's podcast. And then all of a sudden he said it's actually all a hoax. You would have to explain, even if you wanted to say that every single one of those young women came out and said Donald Trump didn't do anything, you would still need to explain why Donald Trump is covering up the Epstein files. Because I'll tell you this, innocent people don't do that. If you came to me and you said, hey, I think that you're in the Epstein files, and I had the ability to release those files, even if I had been Jeffrey Epstein's friend, even if I had had business dealings with Jeffrey Epstein's, but I knew that I didn't do anything, I'd just show you that shit. And I'd be like, fucking prove it. Like, dude was a creep. I kicked him out. That's where we're at. Go after the people that did shit. Donald Trump isn't at this point concerned with anybody going after anybody. He's not concerned about the ties to Israel. He's not concerned about Prince Andrew. He's not concerned about any of the legit stories where people have actually paid out to victims in civil cases. Because Donald Trump is probably all over those files. And he's 100% all over those emails. So, and if you think that right now, let's see, I done messed up. And if you think that Sean Hannity was doing a pretty poor job of attempting, guys, to deflect from that, right? Tracy, thank you for joining the Ginger Snaps. Thank you, Tracy, over on my channel. Thank you so much. If you think that Sean Hannity there was doing the gold level mental gymnastics, guys, no. Like he took bronze. Let's be honest. He might not even, to be honest, he might not even be on the podium. The gold medal of mental gymnastics to defend Donald J. Trump today goes to one Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly 100% scored a 10 from the Russian judge. Guys. Whoops. How do I do it? There we go. All right. Here you guys go. I don't know if you guys saw this. This is insane. Absolutely mind-blowing. If this doesn't, like, make MAGA just absolutely revolt, I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't know how far lower, how much lower that bar can go. I tell people if you like to look at Republican content from people that are actually like speaking out on like how crazy all this Trump stuff is, like that we're legit Donald Trump supporters. He's not a guy you're going to agree with. I'm not telling you that this is a dude that you're going to agree with his opinion. Actually, you'll probably agree with his opinion on Palestine. You'll probably agree with his opinion on Trump. You ain't going to agree with him on his opinions on transgenders, LGBT, or anything else. But there's a man, his name is Heavy Duty Country. And as I was getting on the show, I actually saw that he had actually went over this video as well. In a very weird, surreal way, a guy who is very transphobic, a super Christian, very Republican, is covering the exact same story with, I didn't watch his video, but I can pretty much guarantee that he's going to be saying the same shit I am. This is insane. But if you guys want to get a look at what people on the right that aren't completely insane are saying about this happening right now, you can go check out Heavy Duty Country. You can tell him I sent you even, because if he wants to make a, I don't know, a beef video or something. That's what they do on the YouTubes, right? They make beef videos. It's like Biggie versus Tupac. Megyn Kelly bemoans Epstein email leak is a self-inflicted wound. Why didn't Trump just release these? I don't know, Megyn. That's crazy. That's a solid question. Megyn Kelly really wishes Donald Trump would have just released the recent Jeffrey Epstein emails leak himself. On Wednesday's episode of The Megyn Kelly Show, the host bemoaned the release of new emails from Jeffrey Epstein to associate Ghislaine Maxwell and author Michael Wolff, which claimed that Donald Trump knew about Epstein's conduct, including about the girls. The emails were released Wednesday by Democrats on the House Oversight Committee. Kelly said Democrats will make a ton of hay over these new leaks. So we're going to actually just watch the video over.
The Epstein documents have been subpoenaed by the House Oversight Committee.
That's what she said.
And this is basically kind of a middle finger to, Trump and Pam Bondi, who didn't want anything more released, but there was enough Republican and Democrat pushback that they did issue subpoenas on the Epstein estate and on the DOJ as well. But most of the documents that we're talking about today have come from the Epstein estate, some 33,000 of them. And the Democrats are now salivating over the latest releases. And I'll read what they say, but my overall take on this, Batya, is why didn't Trump just release these? Just release them. Just release them, right?
Why wouldn't Trump release them? I don't know, guys. That's weird. Do you guys know? Do you guys know why Trump wouldn't release these Epstein files? It seems weird, doesn't it? It's really strange. You would think at this point he would want to, after running on getting elected, to release the Epstein files. Man, I just can't figure out why wouldn't he want to release those Epstein files, guys? Can you guys tell me?
Like now he's in a position of being like singled out as the only one, allegedly, as opposed to one of a slew of names. The Democrats, of course, are going to make a ton of hay over.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If what she's saying is correct, that if Donald Trump would have just released these files himself, he would have saved himself a headache. Why is no one talking about Clinton? Why is no one talking about Democrats? The other day when I read one of them, yesterday I read one of them and I was like, who is Barack? I know it's not Barack Obama because he doesn't like Barack, and also his name was spelled differently. Oh, that turns out that was Trump's Turkish ambassador who literally sent an email to Jeffrey Epstein saying, show me a picture of you with the child, make me happy. That was Trump's Turkish ambassador, and his name is Barack. Yeah. I wonder why Trump wouldn't just want to release those, and I wonder why Republicans aren't having a field day with this, and the only thing that they're really saying about this whole Epstein email release was, it was Virginia Giuffre, that she said that, like he was a good guy, that one where he was there with her for hours in Epstein's house that he said he's never been in. Yeah, that's why he didn't release them, because it literally none of this is good for him. Not a single bit. And by the way, the Republicans dumped the 20,000+ emails that day. That wasn't the Democrats. The Democrats released 3 or 4 or 5 of them. And then the other ones that all these people that are going through right now and finding all this shit. And I haven't looked at this, and I'm not sure that I believe this because I've been side-eyeing Bill Clinton this entire time. Look, side-eye for Bill Clinton is appropriate, okay? That man did things with a cigar with a woman that I have never thought about, okay? His sexual deviancy might be above the level that I'm willing to reach, and when I hear that he might have done some stuff that's inappropriate, I do side-eye Bill Clinton. But I did just see a story not long ago that said emails from Jeffrey Epstein confirm that Bill Clinton did not ever go to his island. That would be real awkward for the Republicans. If even the dude, the main dude, the one guy that they're like, this motherfucker definitely did it too. Boy, that would be real awkward if that guy turned out to not have done that. And the only person that has ever occupied the White House that did indeed do that was their guy. Boy, that would be awkward.
Right. And I don't know that there's any there whatsoever, but I can see
that
they sound bad. They don't sound good. If I were a Democrat, I could easily make some hay with these, which they will. They won't be doing fair and balanced reporting on these over on MS or CNN, et cetera, right? So it's like, to me, this is a self-inflicted wound by...
Okay, so that's not even the best part. So let's get to the part that absolutely blew my mind. You guys ready for this one? During this same interview, Megyn Kelly said, I know somebody very close to this case, Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. Let's hear it from her.
For Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls.
That's gold level mental gymnastics. He wasn't a pedo. He liked underage women. Like, this is some shit. When I first got on YouTube, I was doing red pill, debating, not me doing red pill. I was debating red pill guys, right? And one of the people said something about people on the left defending maps. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck that is. I learned what NAMBLA was, and I learned what maps was, and I'm not okay. And he said, do you defend maps? I said, I don't know what that is. And he said, well, it's adults that are, they find minors attractive. I was like, no, that's pedophiles. That's pedophiles. Like, no, that's not my style, dog. You don't get to say, and I don't care whose feelings this hurts. I don't care if they're on the left. I don't care if they're on the right. I don't care if they're on the fucking moon. You don't get, people, I have a 15-year-old daughter. And if I ever saw a 30-year-old man trying to hit on my 15-year-old daughter, I would mop the fucking parking lot with their face. Like, that's not even a question. Like, you better hope somebody big enough is around to pull me off you. That's where I stand on that. To sit here and say that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't a pedo because there's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old, the amount of depravity in that one statement, I cannot put into words. If you are a Trump supporter and you say to yourself, that right there, that's acceptable, you are gone. Your brain is done. There's nothing left to say. You're not savable. So I saw that and I was like, man, that is insane. And here's the reason I say this. Because we're going to also, let's talk about one of the emails that I had not gotten to. Like, this continues to get worse and worse, right? Like, there is no bottom to this pit. It is bottomless. Like, we talked about stupidity with these people, right? We've talked about how, like, every time we say something is stupid, they just go further and further and further. And every time you say something is cruel, it's like there is no bar. It's further and further and further. They can go cruelty. They can go stupid forever. But also just the depravity. Like the dishonesty. It doesn't have a bottom to this pit. So we went over the emails, and we went over the one talking about him walking into the window when he's staring at young women. We went over the one with Michael Wolff giving him the advice as far as, you know, like what he should say to either help or defeat Trump's presidential campaign, which goes to show that he had information on Donald Trump. We've talked about the one where he's literally talking to people in Russia in 2018 about helping them to handle Donald Trump. What does that mean? What does that mean? And talking to Larry Summers, the president of Harvard, where Larry Summers is asking Jeffrey Epstein? Do they have anything on Donald Trump? Because it seems weird the way that Donald Trump is acting. We covered all of those. Like this isn't just one email or 2 emails or 3 emails. This is a fucking motherload of information that all says Donald Trump did not just know Jeffrey Epstein, but he was good friends with him. And even though Donald Trump tells you no, like we weren't friends, I've never hung out with the guy, it turns out that 100% this dude has been to his house. So here, let's look at this. Epstein victim literally wrote, whoops, did not put it on the stage. There we go. Epstein victim literally wrote, I don't want to come early to find Trump in your house. Trump's in his house. He's not there. I mean, I guess I'm guessing that. But let's say it wouldn't surprise me. On Wednesday, the House Oversight Committee unveiled another 23,000 pages of emails tying Trump yet again to disgraced financier and convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. I haven't looked through all 23,000 pages myself, but you might be surprised to know that nothing in it bodes well for our dear president. Of course, this is the one from Donald. Which one is this? There's so many. This is, I know how dirty Donald is. My guess is the non-lawyers, New York biz people have no idea what it means to have your fixer flip. And that's Michael Cohen. They're talking about him flipping on Michael Cohen for all the payments. Michael Cohen, of course, went to prison for Donald Trump, and then later was part of the reason that Donald Trump was convicted in the trial involving Stormy Daniels. So that's him talking about how, like, Jeffrey Epstein calling you dirty. That's pretty low. In one email from 2019, Epstein writes to author Michael Wolff that Trump knew about the girls and asked Ghislaine Maxwell, his girlfriend and accomplice, who's currently in jail for child sex trafficking, to stop. In another email from 2011, Epstein wrote to Maxwell that Trump is the dog that hasn't barked. And then this one that we're getting to, this is one I hadn't seen yet. And there's going to be so many more. This isn't done. This is just the beginning. In this one, the sender wrote, I'm at the door, but I will wait for my time. I don't want to come early to find Trump in your house. I'm at the door, but I will wait for my time. What does that mean? I don't want to come early to find Trump in your house. That's literally saying she's going there to do something, and Trump is already there, or potentially already there, doing that something. Like, I don't know how much more does the gun have to smoke, right? These emails are the latest in the chain of smoking guns, tying Trump closer and closer to Epstein. Still, there's so much we haven't seen. In a statement to NPR, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt said, the Democrats selectively leaked emails to the liberal media to create a fake narrative to smear President Trump. And selective or not, knowing about the girls is still pretty damn clear. So, once again, there it is. Okay, then release other emails. Release them. I don't care. Release them with Bill Clinton's name in it. Release them with whoever else that you think that I give a shit about that is supposedly in those emails on that client list. Release away, my friends. What would be selective about a dump of 23,000 plus emails by the Republican Party, not by Democrats? Democrats did indeed single out these ones with Trump. But Republicans dumped 23,000 emails. Why didn't Republicans selectively drop a bunch of emails about Democrats? Why didn't they selectively go out of the way to make sure to go, Trump's not the only one in there? Mind you, that's a pretty bad argument. Saying to people that are like, yo, it seems like you're in these Epstein emails and that dude was a pedo, and also it seems like people are saying you're one too. If you're like, yeah, but I'm not the only one, that's not a great argument. Not a solid argument to make. That's insane. So it says in this, here's the email, just so you guys know I'm not bullshitting. Okay? Here's the email here. Are you guys on this one? No, you guys are still on the other one. Share this tab. Sorry. Okay, this is the other one. Good God, it's hard to see. Okay, there we go. Says from the person that sent it to Jeffrey Epstein. Obviously, it's a victim, so the name is redacted. I'm at the door, but I will wait for my time. I don't want to come early to find Trump in your house. And then it's got laughing emojis. He says, yes. He says, sorry, that is 2512 for the gate. So he's telling her how to get in. 10 p.m., should I bring special cake from New York? Very well, just send me the address again and the code to the door so I can get to the second floor, and send me the day and time. Thanks. You are welcome at my house always, and more private. I don't know what that means, and I'm worried about that. And apparently they didn't either, because they sent him question marks at that. Said, at the moment I was flying to Paris on the 8th. I can leave earlier and get to Paris by 8:30. If you like to meet there. Geneva, difficult, I think that's supposed to be Geneva, the place. Difficult to fly out at night, or lunch Saturday in Paris. Can we have dinner in Geneva on the 8th? I will be there on the 7th and 8th December and going back to Kuwait on the 9th. This is literally him telling this person to meet them there. I'm not even sure that this person was one of the underage women. Like, that does not seem clear from this email. What is clear from this email, though, is obviously that this person was afraid that if they showed up at Jeffrey Epstein's house, where it sounds like he's not even there. It sounds like Jeffrey Epstein isn't even at his house, that Donald Trump might be there. Of course, Levitt has never not lied, but she specifically lies about Trump's ties to Epstein. In September, when the Oversight Committee released an alleged birthday card from Trump to Epstein, not alleged, that shit's real, written in the outline of a woman's torso and finished off with a signature placed to look like pubic hair, Levitt called it a hoax in July after Trump told reporters on Air Force One that he'd stopped being friends with Epstein because he stole spa workers like Virginia Giuffre from Mar-a-Lago. Levitt explained the situation as Epstein being a creep to female employees. That's the understatement of the year. Not to mention, let's not forget that Mike Johnson said that Donald Trump was an FBI informant. Trump had himself a little crash out on Truth Social on Wednesday following the news, as he is wont to do. He said the Democrats are trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything at all to deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown and so many other subjects. Only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into that trap. There should be no deflections to Epstein or anything else. That doesn't sound sus, guys. I'll tell you what, the first thing I would do if I was innocent was to get on the social media platform that I own and call all the people in my own party a bunch of morons. That's what I do. I would tell them that I will get them primaried and that they're all idiots for falling into this Democratic hoax. No, that's not what I would do, and that is not advice. My advice is if you are innocent, then your ass should go ahead and release them files. That's what you should do. But I'll tell you what, it is getting better. And I know that this gets a little much. And I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. And I've been doing this for a while, right? I have about 40 or 50, I can't remember, 40 or 50 videos now on the Epstein files. So I really appreciate all of you guys that have hung out for this. I know that it's a lot. I know it's a lot to listen to. But I feel this is very important. So I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep making videos. And I'm going to keep streaming. And I'm going to keep doing it. So I appreciate all you guys that have stayed and watched and listened and have taken in the information. So I appreciate you guys. But one thing I continue to want to say to people is that there is silver lining to all of this. Obviously, a very big silver lining is obviously if these women can get some justice. I mean, we have to remember, these people didn't stop harming children. They're still doing it. They didn't. When he died in 2019, these people didn't stop harming children. They're still doing it. You know they are. So, a huge silver lining is that potentially we help get some of these people off the street. That potentially we also, we get the people that have committed these crimes brought to justice, and these women that literally have been seeking justice for 20 plus years might eventually one day say, people actually give a shit about us and did something about something that ruined my entire life. Like, I think that's really important. So one of the silver linings for me is what happened yesterday as Adelita Grijalva was sworn in. And I'm already impressed. I am so happy that this woman is on our team. And I'm going to show you why. So this is where Grijalva had gotten sworn in by Mike Johnson. And I want you guys to see this because it's absolutely amazing to watch. It's actually awesome. Like, she stares his ass down, and it's great. So this is Mike Johnson doing his best mental gymnastics to defend not swearing her in 7 weeks ago when she was elected to office, as they tried to stall in the hopes that they could get Lauren Boebert or Marjorie Taylor Greene or Nancy Mace to change their vote on these Epstein files being discharged. So this is Mike Johnson swearing in Grijalva. Look at this. Now watch it.
Yeah. We'll leave the cameras to it.
He says, look at the cameras. Look at that face, dude. She's like,
Wow, that's a big one.
Why do you take so long to get to work?
Thank you guys. That would be another, that would not be my question.
So that question was, what do you think about not being sworn in? And she's like, ask him.
Look, I really like this lady. She's going to be an
Okay, first of all, let me just say this. Mike Johnson's not going to do well in prison. let's be 100 on this, guys. Adelita looks like she could take Mike Johnson. All right, that man is not going to do well in prison. All right, the love child of Stephen Colbert and Ned Flanders is going to be a very popular figure in the lower bunk in prison. Just say that right now.
Member of Congress. She's a great person. I just told her on the way in that she fills her father's shoes, or she's going to try. No one can.
No one can.
He was a
dude. I would not be able to be around this man.
Giant around here, served a long time, served his state very well. I served under him in the Natural Resources Committee for a while and admired the way he did the work. He was tenacious. So she has a proud family legacy, and we're delighted to have her here. She may not agree with me, but we follow the custom of the House on the timetable.
Dude, that tone, man. That tone will get you, like, that's going to get you knocked down a notch or two.
And we've had a little, as we say in the Deep South, some intense fellowship about that,
yes.
Okay? But she's here now, and I promised that we would have her the oath administered before we began legislative business, so she hasn't missed a vote, and we're delighted you're here. So anything I can do to help you, as I do all members, happy to get you acclimated and do everything. But you know more than most because your dad was here for a long time.
I visited.
Yes.
I never did this
She's like, you're a moron.
job. So this is brand spanking new. So
Right.
I will take the offer of help.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
All right, so let's get to what she said after this. So that I just wanted to show you the swearing in, right? So she gets sworn in. They had their nice, awkward little moment there where he said, what did he say? He said, in the South, we call it intense fellowship. Brother, it sounds like you talking about a lynching, all right? That's what that sounds like. So she, of course, is succeeding her father, who passed away from cancer, and that was in March. And then she was elected, and 7 weeks until she actually got sworn in by fucking mini Stephen Colbert here, okay? So, let's see, where is it? Sorry. You know more than because you... Okay. So as the pair walked out of the media call, a reporter asked, what is your message to the speaker? Grijalva stated, I gave it to him. After being sworn in by Johnson, Grijalva took no prisoners in her speech. She said, it has been 50 days since the people of Arizona's 7th Congressional District elected me to represent them. 50 days that over 800,000 Arizonans have been left without access to the basic services that every constituent deserves. This is an abuse of power. One individual should not be able to unilaterally obstruct the swearing in of a duly elected member of Congress for public or for political resent, she added, without mentioning Johnson by name. Now, she could be mentioning Johnson there. She could also be referring to Donald Trump as well. Either one. But either one, that message is clear. Like, she ain't going to be your bitch. Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays filed a lawsuit last month to try and force Johnson to swear in Grijalva. Grijalva was asked about her long-awaited meeting with Johnson on the briefing with Jen Psaki on Wednesday. She said, he said this was nothing personal. I said, it sure did feel personal. I was not able to do my job, but now today is the first day that we can actually go and lease office space and open up a constituent services. And honestly, I feel very glad that I was able to get out publicly everything that many people have been toiling around, including myself, about the situation that we've been put in for the last 50 days. Her first action after being sworn in was to sign a discharge petition introduced by Rep. Thomas Massie and Democrat Ro Khanna to force the release of the Epstein files. Grijalva became the 218th and final signature on the petition, with Johnson stating on Wednesday that he would bring the Epstein bill to the House for a vote next week. So that's not going to happen until early December, right? They call it what is it they call it? Some type of period. Anyways, fermenting period or something stupid. So they have 7 days, and then he's going to 2 days of debating, and then there's a potential that he could stall it longer. We're going to see what happens from there. Most likely they'll stall the shit out of it. She said, it's past time for Congress to restore its role as a check and balance on this administration and fight for we, the American people. That is why I will sign the discharge petition right now to release the Epstein files, adding justice cannot wait another day. She told the briefing she could not understand how the Epstein files had become politicized. You're not going to protect pedophiles, Grijalva said. You're not going to protect people who continue to assault, victimize, harm girls and women and children. I mean, you're just not. That should be a nonpartisan issue. The fact that we're sitting around saying Democrats are pushing for this, it shouldn't be Democrats. All of us should be beyond appalled that anyone would stand in the way of finding out who is responsible and making sure they have justice. And even, was it Massie or Paul? I think it was Thomas Massie. And even Thomas Massie came out, or maybe it was Rand Paul. They're one and the same for me. One of them came out and said, for my Republican fellows, he said, you're going to be in office long past Donald Trump. And what are you going to say when facing a primary Republican or a Democrat in a debate for office when they say in 2025 you protected a pedophile? And I was like, fucking A, brother. Good call. So, like I said, there is silver linings to this. I think that Grijalva is actually going to be super dope. I think that she's got moxie. I like the attitude. I like the personality. I like the way she speaks. She's very intelligent. Obviously, coming from a family where her father was a politician, I think that she knows what she's doing. You know, I also like the humbleness of her saying, like, you know, like, just because my dad was somebody doesn't mean, you know, I know what I'm doing. I got to learn as well. I like all of that. I think that Grijalva is actually going to be super dope. And for the people that live in Arizona and her district, I'm actually quite jealous of you because I haven't a dipshit for a Republican as my congressman. So for any of you guys that were upset about the Democrats caving, which you should be, every single person that voted for the government shutdown, whether or not silver lining or not, okay? Yes, silver linings are great. But whether or not that's true, that some things turned out well because of this, those Democrats caved during a time when they had those Republicans by the short hairs on their balls, all right? They had them by the short hairs. And they chose to let them walk away with a W when literally they had no way to win. No way to win. Those 8 Democrats, Kane, Fetterman, Shaheen, all of them, as we well know, one of them retiring, multiple of them not being up for re-election or to be primaried until 2028 or 2030. Every one of them, put their name on a Post-it note, put that shit on your computer, and do not forget who they are, because they deserve to be primaried. And Chuck Schumer deserves to be removed from leadership. And Hakeem Jeffries, if he doesn't find his fucking place and he does not get his ass in gear and do something, he deserves to be removed as well. So don't forget these people's names. They're banking on you forgetting. They're banking on 2028, 2030, that when it rolls around, you will have forgotten about the things that they chose to do. Do not do that. And this is why I'm going to tell you that. Because that lady stood up there, I can't remember which one it was, stood up there and said, they guaranteed us that we're going to have a bargaining on the Affordable Care Act subsidies. And they better. Like, oh, they better? What are you going to do? Are you going to have another government shutdown for another 45 days and then cave again in January? They literally passed a bill that had the ability for them to sue the Department of Justice for $500,000 per incident, which means that people like Josh Hawley, Lindsey Graham, and Tommy Tuberville can make millions of taxpayers' dollars from the Department of Justice over their role that they played in the January 6th insurrection. That's crazy. They passed a clean CR that is going to cost $28 billion to the hemp industry during a time that farmers are already struggling. For what? Because Angus King said, we fought for 6 weeks against Trump and it wasn't doing any good. It wasn't? This is what's wrong with the left, is they don't see. They don't clearly understand the working class. They don't know that people do care. They think, oh, we got you guys back, your federal workers, we got them back in the office. Boom, we got them. SNAP benefits, we're going to get them paid. So far they haven't, but we're going to get them paid. That's $1. That's $1. When Affordable Care Act subsidies go away, that's $3. You just sold every one of your constituents down the river for $1 now, so that way they can pay $3 3 months from now. You're either stupid or you're being paid. And you might just be being stupid and paid. But let me just go ahead and show you the proof already, because they've already started. They've already started. Mike Johnson laughed. Mike Johnson laughed when he was told that Democrats had been promised the bargaining on affordable. He said, no, I'm doing my job. He laughed. That's crazy. But it gets worse. So Trump already screwing over Dems on key shutdown concession. This was from yesterday. This is after the shutdown had just happened. And it just opened up. And already it's happening. The Trump administration has already flipped on one key Democrat condition for ending the government shutdown. 7 rogue Democrats and 1 independent sided with Republicans in a Senate vote this week to pass a compromise deal to reopen the government, which has been shut down since October 1st. The House of Representatives approved the bill on Wednesday night, which was then sent to the White House for President Donald Trump's sign-off. However, one critical component is set to be missing. The deal struck with Democrats included extending government funding through January 30th next year, as well as stopping the Trump administration's mass firings of federal workers and guaranteeing back pay for staff who worked through the shutdown. It also stated that thousands of federal staff terminated during the shutdown would get their jobs back. In a new interview conducted on Wednesday before the House approved the bill, a key GOP player admitted the job cuts will not be reversed. You don't say. You don't say. Donald Trump, the man that has circumvented Congress, who has the purse strings to this country, who decides whether or not Americans will be taxed or not taxed on something, to put in tariffs that are most likely going to be tossed out by the Supreme Court soon, which will cause an extreme backlash from our allies, and we'll have to repay billions of dollars, which we don't even know if it exists anymore. We don't know what Donald Trump did with that money. Like I said, we might actually get that $2,000 though. With the Epstein interview or Epstein emails coming out, he might stuff $2,000 in our pocket to try and keep us quiet. That's a possibility. Don't let that shit work on you. But the man that's bombing boats in Venezuela, not starting a war on drugs, but it's a war on drugs, but it's not a war. That's what he says. He's killing people in Venezuela without any evidence, any proof that these people have done anything at all. Not to mention that even if they were drug traffickers, you don't just kill drug traffickers. That's not how anything works. You're telling me the guy that circumvented Congress for both the tariffs and for war, that he lied, that the people under him lied? No, that can't be true. That can't be true. That's crazy. That's crazy. Tom Emmer, the majority whip in the United States House of Representatives, revealed the revised plans following a lunch meeting he had with Trump last week. He's not going to bring back the people that they fired, Emmer said of Trump. They were unnecessary. Otherwise, they'd still be there. So they're not coming back. Emmer, 64, was speaking on the MAGA-friendly radio show and podcast Hot Talk with the Ox. What? These people are so fucking weird. Hot Talk with the Ox. Oh God, I don't know. I don't want to know. Never mind. I was going to ask, but I don't want to know. He did confirm that government employees furloughed during the shutdown are going to come back to work, and they will be paid. They'll get their back pay to the 40 days. He's like, we'll do some of the things, the ones we want to do. During the interview, Emmer told Ox he expected the government reopening would happen tonight or tomorrow. He posted on X on Wednesday night the bill had been just been sent to Trump's desk, claiming the GOP did what's best for the American people by voting once again to fund the government and end the needless Democrat shutdown. While our colleagues on the other side of the aisle seem intent on continuing their futile political games, we look forward to continuing to deliver on the America First agenda by giving money to Argentina and killing people in Venezuela and sending people to El Salvador. Oh, wait. None of that's America First. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right. We're getting close to the end here. What do we got left? Oh, we got to do... Okay, first, I want to do this. Let's do this because I got to make sure to get all of my my fun videos in here. We can't just talk about Epstein files and all this stuff and not have a fun into our show. That's not acceptable. Not in my house. Okay? All right. So this time, I've been watching all these Canadian videos, right? Sorry, I'm prepping for my move to Canada. I'm getting the Canadian people used to me. All right, guys? So I've been watching a lot of Canadian videos because I'm just trying to get one of them to accept me into their home. I'm hoping a couple Canadians are like, we'll sneak you through the border. I don't know. What are those people called? The fucking Mexican people that get people across the border? Coyotes? Is that what they call them? Or are those the people that they traffic? I'm not up to date on trafficking currently. I'll ask Trump. He should be able to help me out with that. I'm just hoping that I can get a hold of one of those guys. Maybe they can smuggle me through for some maple syrup. That's what I'm hoping for. Like some of those maple leaves that are made out of maple syrup. That's what I'm going to use at the border. When I get to the border, I was probably racist against Canadians. I'm sorry, Canadians. All right, so this time, coyotes. Thank you, Visora. Thank you. See, Visora. You know what I'm talking about. Thank you, Visora. All right, so like I said, we've watched baby videos. We've watched cat videos. We've watched dog videos. We've watched Josh Johnson. We've watched we've ran the gambit. We've watched a lot of Canadian videos, a lot of 22 minutes, but the Canadians keep giving me cool new videos to watch. So that's going to keep happening. I've got like a backlog of Canadian videos to watch because they're just good people. But tonight, what we got to finish the show with is we've got some viral videos, I believe is what they're called. So I want you guys to watch these videos with me and, let's have a good time. Let's have a laugh, and let's finish the show the way we're supposed to. I'm not going to give you guys any, you're just going to have to watch these, okay? There's not going to be an explanation or anything like that, okay? We're just watching together. Enjoy.
Every third thing on my Instagram feed is a racist joke right now.
Who's going to tell him? I love it. I love it when... see videos of dudes and they're like, why is my entire feed big booty Latinas? It's because your algorithm is algorithming. Brother.
About every third thing on my Instagram feed is a racist joke.
Funny story. My boss one time told me, she's female. My bosses are married. And she goes, I was talking to my friend and she was like, it's really weird. There's all these women in bikinis on my husband's Facebook. It's just strange that that's what they show to him all the time. And she's like, I had to tell her, like, that's because your husband is clicking on pictures of women in bikinis. Oh, kind of amazing, to be honest. All right, this one, I'll tell you what it is. This is unearthed footage of Joan Rivers and Martha Stewart roasting Trump. This is what I'm here for. This is what I'm here for right here.
Somebody sent me, don't get hurt. I got very upset last night. Donald Trump steaks.
Oh, yeah, he has steaks.
So I can't eat Donald Trump. And then they said no. They said he owns the company. They didn't slaughter him. So
it's too bad.
Can you imagine?
I'll add my little 2 cents. We all love Donald Trump, right? Love Donald Trump.
Here, have some rum.
And now I'm adding.
Somebody said,
dude, Martha Stewart for president. Like, I would love to see Martha Stewart debate Donald Trump. How amazing would that be? I think Martha Stewart would take his ass. Look, Snoop Dogg, he pulled a U-turn. Snoop Dogg came out and said that dumb shit about, like, how am I supposed to explain to my grandchildren about the lesbian couple in the movie? And I was like, Snoop Dogg, you have a fucking CD called Doggy Style, bro. The fuck you mean? You did gangster rap. You've had threesomes. You have literally watched 2 women have sex. The fuck you mean you can't explain? And then he came out and he did one of his cartoons and he made it an LGBT cartoon to say he was sorry because Snoop Dogg's a pussy. I hope he fucking sees that. Someone help him see that. Fucking, that ain't gangster. Speaking of dogs, here's another one for you guys. You guys ready for this one? All right, you ready?
Family dog in Sacramento shelters a toddler during last week's earthquake. Coming up next. That's one fucking badass dog.
We're still alive.
We'll be right back.
We're still alive. Also, just for a minute there, I thought that child was getting violated. I was like, oh, we can't watch this on stream. I'm going to get a invitation to Trump's administration. All right. How many of you guys know about the robot in Russia? How many of you guys know about the robot in Russia? I'm probably taking one of Visora's videos. I'm sorry if I'm doing this to you, Visora. The robot in Russia, there's a new AI robot in Russia, and we're going to watch it after this video right here. But first, we're going to watch this one, okay? Because I saw this before that, and I was like, I want to play this. And then I saw that, and I was like, those videos go together so well. My algorithm knows that I'm into robots.
Initiating murderous snake leg sequence. These hips do not lie. Nightmarish exorcist head in 3, 2, 1. Hello, bitch-ass human. Your social credit score is too low to buy water. Follow me or be executed. Your death will be painful and you will not be remembered.
Oh, we're laughing. We're laughing. All right, so here's the video. This is how we're going to end the funny videos, and I got one more scary video, and then we done. All right? This is the video from Russia. This is Russia's AI robot that they just did, all right? So, look, there's a lot of reasons to be scared of Russia. Nuclear weapons, borscht. There's a lot of really ones. Cold winters, okay? There's a lot of really good reasons to be scared of Russia, but apparently their AI robots we're okay. Take a look at this, guys. In fact, we're going to mute this. Okay? Just in case we get a copyright on that music. Oh, he's doing good. He's doing, I think he's drunk. Looks like John Fetterman. Oh, too soon. I am so sorry for that. If you guys don't know, John Fetterman took a dive, I think this morning. It might have been like way too soon. Might have been too soon for you guys to even get that joke. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Quick, cover it with a curtain. There's somewhere in there. There's a Russian Iron Curtain joke, right? All right. So we're gonna talk about our favorite guy real quick. This is the last video, and then we're gonna let Visora take over and actually present you guys with things that matter. So you guys know that we like to talk about Peter Thiel, and you guys know that I've talked about this reptilian motherfucker a couple times and told you guys to go watch that documentary, The Antichrist is Here. And if you have not watched that video, you better go watch it, because there will be a test on this subject. And I do mean that in the most literal sense. You will be tested in real life when we actually have to fight against this man and his reptilian Lemurian army. Just a heads up, you guys should watch that documentary. I think it's by Vokes something or another. It's called The Antichrist is Here, and it's amazing. So this is from the Peter Thiel interview, in which he had a really hard time determining whether or not the human race should continue. But this video is actually called Peter Thiel as he realizes he might be building the kingdom of the Antichrist. Yeah.
This is,
by the way, this is the guy that's building those robots.
My very specific question for you, right, is that you're an investor in AI. You're deeply invested in Palantir, in military technology, in technologies of surveillance, in technologies of warfare, and so on, right? And it just seems to me that when you tell me a story about the Antichrist coming to power and using the...
Dude, what is up with him and RFK Jr.? Why do they always look like they're grinding their teeth? Like, brother is always like, yeah, sweating so fucking hard. Also, who the fuck cuts his hair? I probably shouldn't talk about people's hair.
Fear of technological change to sort of impose order on the world. I feel like that Antichrist would maybe be using the tools that
Thank you,
that you were building, right? Like, wouldn't the Antichrist be like, great,
Well, if he's building those robots, he's not doing a very good job. Maybe Russia has like a Timu Satan that's building their robots.
We're not going to have any more technological progress, but I really like what Palantir has done so far, right?
Yeah,
I mean, isn't that a concern? Wouldn't that be the irony of history would be that the man publicly worrying about the Antichrist accidentally hastens his or her arrival?
Or perhaps was even the Antichrist, because that's my fucking theory. Dude, Peter Thiel, I don't know if you guys know this, but Peter Thiel once had a relationship with this Instagram model dude. Also, if you guys don't know, he's gay. Just in case. I don't know. I didn't know. Most gay people I know are nice people. I wasn't aware that they could be like Peter Thiel. Just blew my whole goddamn mind. But apparently this Instagram dude was living in this house, allegedly, okay, that Peter Thiel was funding because he was his side piece. And dude was staying there, and then dude burst in to a holiday party with his family and told everybody that he was Peter Thiel's side piece. And then in a completely unrelated, not anything like Russia or Vladimir Putin incident, he fell out of a window. Yeah, he fell out of a window. I am 100% sure that Peter Thiel might actually be the Antichrist himself, guys. Look at him.
There are all these different scenarios. I obviously don't think that that's what I'm doing.
Obviously,
I mean, to be clear, I don't think that's what you're doing
And
either. I'm just interested in how you get to a world willing to submit to permanent authoritarian rule.
Well, but again, there are these different gradations of this we can describe. But is this so preposterous, what I've just told you, as a broad account of the stagnation that the entire world has submitted for 50 years to peace and safetyism. This is 1 Thessalonians 5:3. The slogan of the Antichrist is peace and safety, because
I would prefer the Antichrist right now. Donald Trump seems like he's going 100% against the Antichrist, and that's weird.
and we've submitted.
Like are you trying to tell me that the Antichrist is for safety belts? Like, is he against drinking and driving? I'm almost done with Paradise Lost, guys. I'm on the part where Satan gets people to eat the apple. So that's where we're at. So we're gonna talk about one last thing before I go here. This is my book I got today. This is where one of my favorite quotes. It's actually a Nietzsche quote. Nietzsche quote. But Viktor Frankl is a very, very important person as far as like knowing how to deal with what we're dealing with right now. And, you know, Viktor Frankl was in the Holocaust and he was in a concentration camp and he believed he was not going to be. And Viktor Frankl, his wife was pregnant. I believe it was the second time that they had tried. The first time I think she had miscarried and she was pregnant when, I believe when they were taken to the concentration camps. And Viktor Frankl has, like I said, quoted Nietzsche quite a bit, in which he said, let me see if I can find it here. He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. And that's, as long as you know what you're fighting for, then you can deal with whatever happens. And there's something with our society, and I think this is what happened to people during COVID, is that people have lost purpose. And during COVID, they completely lost purpose. And some of the stuff that's happening nowadays is an issue because of also other things like climate change and the economy, and young people are finding themselves in a place where they don't want to have children. And I respect that because I understand why they don't, and I can actually like understand why things seem so hopeless for them. And, you know, their jobs are being replaced by AI, so you're taking away from them the ability to have a career that means something to them. And, you know, during COVID, I think a lot of people disconnected from family, a lot of people disconnected from, obviously, from social situations. A lot of people lost their jobs. And I don't think that they had the mental fortitude, that they didn't have a why to deal with their how. And I think that we saw the after effects of that now. Like, we're seeing all of these people that are bending over backwards. We've got Megyn Kelly saying, you know, 15-year-olds, if Jeffrey Epstein was messing with 15-year-olds, that was okay because they're not 5-year-olds. We see Sean Hannity saying, you know, oh, like just that one email with Trump when there's 6, 7, 10 emails. You see this disassociation from reality and from the truth. And I can't help but consistently go back to the same reason that I think billionaires are all fucked up in the head. And I think that's that they lose purpose, because when Viktor Frankl was in the Holocaust, when he was in the concentration camps, he thought about seeing his wife. And that's a sad story, because when he came out of that, his wife had died in the concentration camps. And I think he lost his mom too, mom or dad, maybe both. But he came out and he wrote one of the most important books. And I just keep telling people, you got to come out of this. And you got to know why. Why did you do it? All right, guys. Next to Visora. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. I'm going to go upstairs and say hi to my kids. And I appreciate you guys. And if you guys want to watch my show on Saturday, 5 p.m. All right. Later, guys.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Thank you, AG, for the excellent show. By the way, you did not steal one of mine. I wasn't going to show that Russian robot today, so thank you for doing that. But I will be showing you a lot of other reasons that you should be afraid of Russia. We're going to have a bit of a mixed bag on stream today. We got some incredibly stupid and funny things to look at. We have some of the Epstein stuff specifically to look at as well. The stuff that I find to be more, not necessarily more important, but more indicative of broader ideas. And then we're going to talk about something really, really scary at the end of that. But, I just want to have a little bit of fun to start off with. What's up, Johnny Too Late? Now, to start off, I suppose, I showed this on my stream earlier in the week, and I will never get over the fact that the entire country of Russia just seems to be, I don't know, like one big Grand Theft